YouTube, I know we got a lot going on, but we are currently live right now. You'll need to stop by the Twitch channel, chilling with the Twitch boys, and a legend review for y'all featuring Hyun. Hyun, how you doing today, man?
Doing well, Card. Thank you. Thank you for asking. Happy to be here.
Thanks for coming on. So, Hyun, before we start, can you just give a little info? What kind of player you are, where you ended up in Legend, play style, things like that. Maybe favorite units, just anything you want to throw out, just so we can get to know you better before we start checking out all the units you have.
Yeah, of course. So actually started all the way back in the Luna banner, I believe. It was like maybe around 3 years ago. Um, I I started piloting the SnowX account last year around this time, and I wasn't a very serious player at the time. I'll admit that I wasn't. My mental wasn't very strong, as well as I guess my the time that I invested in the account.
Sure.
So it wasn't until maybe this season that I started to invest a lot of time. It was probably like a few reasons why I wanted to reach Legend this season.
Yeah.
Mainly because I'm not a very competitive player, but I at least wanted to grab a frame for myself. So I started grinding out games, and I'm glad to say that I did indeed learn a lot from this.
All right, so
from this experience.
Right, so you weren't playing super seriously, but this season is when you sat down and grinded, and you were able to lock in that Legend. But previously, the account was used by someone else, correct?
Yes. So the Snow account was run by someone very notable. I'm not going to say who it was.
Well, you don't need to say anything, but just so people know that this account had a previous user, but you were the one that made it to Legend this season using your own style, gearing, all that stuff, right? Because you've had this for what, over a year now?
Yeah, of course. The count, I will say that the count was originally more aggro oriented.
Yeah.
There's a big misconception that that Snow was a huge cleaver, but reality is he's more of a aggro player, and I just incorporated that playstyle and was able to make a cohesive draft this season.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to hear and see what units you were using. So you are an aggro player?
Oh yeah, through and through.
All right, aggro guys. My chat, I think, loves aggro. They love cleave aggro. They love all that. Okay, so Hyun, let's go and start from the
play style.
Yeah. All right, so we'll lead with your top CP unit. Oh, favorite unit overall, not even performance-wise, but just favorite unit overall in Epic 7.
Wait, oh yeah, Spirit Iceline. She's my favorite unit by far.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I love her design. I love her kit. Unfortunately, she's not too good, but whenever I get the chance to pick her, I always pick her.
All right, well, let's talk about the build you have here. We're actually on Wind Rider, and I'll show them the stats. Anything? So you mentioned she's not that good. You want to elaborate? Like, for a Legend player, what was your experience using her, Spirit Iceline, this season?
So for Celine, Spirit Iceline specifically, she's kind of on the same boat as Green Celine, where there's a variant of this build where it's similar to the same speed, but she actually has what's the artifact called? I believe it's called Secret Eye Sword Storm.
Secret Art Storm Sword, yeah, the CR push one, sure.
Yes, so people were putting that on her and using that to counter, I guess, like opener cleave options, so passive cleave options, so such as DJB, Ran S2. That is an effective way to use her, but I just felt more comfortable using her against single target crit bruisers, such as like A Ravi, sometimes Alencia, Chu.
Sure.
Obviously, you need to build a cohesive comp and draft her last in order to make her work.
Yes.
But there were a couple of times I was able to pick this unit, and she absolutely carried the game.
Nice. Okay, so when those rare scenarios popped up where, they didn't have a lot of hard counters and you fought a lot of single target bruisers, she was very good for you. So it's nice to see, guys, his favorite unit he was still able to use even at a very high rank. Okay, let's move on. Hyun. Next up we have Ida, who's, guys, she's going to be even faster, and she's going to have Torrent set. Wait, Hyun, this is not part of the review, just quick take on Torrent set coming out? What do you think? How do you feel about that new set?
So Torrent set, it's I did talk to Valk about a little bit about it, and
shout out to Valky, good friend of ours. Yep.
Yes. So Torrent set, it's not as game breaking as people think. I would say the trade off is very strong. It's great for AoE, but in terms of single target, you want to stick to pen set.
Of
And
course.
the reason why I say that is, if you look into damage calculations, you can think of the easiest way to compare torrent set is elemental advantage.
Hmm.
Elemental advantage is a 10% damage increase, so you can just basically think of it as that, a free elemental advantage on any of the AoE units that you put on. I guess well, you would say that cleave units. So cleave units or any unit that has true damage.
Sure. Yeah. But yes,
But
I.
with
Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
but just in short, the damage calculations uh, show that single target deals more damage with pen instead of torrent.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't think anyone. I mean, let me be clear. That this is your thought. I agree with that for sure. But I brought it up on the character like Ida because I think units like Ida that were previously on crit set. If you can just make up the crit stats, I think it's just going to be a lot more damage coming through.
Yeah,
And I'm going to be
of course.
afraid of players like you, Hyun, that are going to just have straight up more damage on your Idas. I don't think I can deal with it. All right, but yeah, let me
Oh
show
yeah.
the stats and talk to us a little bit about Ida.
So Ida's so with my units, I think the best way I like to use them is by categorizing them, and categorizing them based on their strengths. So um, what I mean is the easiest way I was able to build a cohesive comp and win my games
Mhm.
was through categorizing my units. So for me, the system that I guess used was I categorized them based off of saying, oh, this is a dynamic unit. Dynamic units are units that excel in turn one or turn two. They're bursty units, or they have a lot of influence within their initial turn. And then there's tempo units, which are, as the title suggests, tempo units. They're not as strong in their first turn, but as the game progresses, they have such a huge impact and can turn the tide of the game. And then the last one is hyper carry, and the hyper carries are essentially units like the next two after Ida, which I'll show, and they're basically just a mixture between tempo and the dynamic units,
Oh,
in which
okay.
they can either be utilized as a, I guess, like an initial burst unit, and then they'll end up carrying the game through their consistent tempo.
Sure, sure. Yeah, I like that. I know Cleve and Aggro definitely have a lot of terms that y'all have come up with, so it's good to hear a little bit more, and especially your categorization of those roles. Okay, you ready to move on to the next one, Hyun?
Oh yeah, of course. So sorry about that. I was going to explain also Ida. So Ida. So
sorry.
I,
Go ahead. My bad. I was too busy
so
absorbing the info. Yes. Take it away.
of course, I love this unit. This unit is my premier dynamic unit. So she's my book holder. Um, I built her to deal as much damage in this speed range.
Mhm.
Went on Fribbles. I utilized Fribbles to make the most damage, to deal the best damage possible, and this is the one that I came up with.
Sort by the
So,
MCD, Mickey D's damage.
mhm. So this Ada, typically I would pick her against squishy units, obviously squishy units, or units, teams that I felt like were squishy enough that I could utilize Ida and just wipe the floor and just end the game as quickly as possible.
Yeah, a lot of times, guys, if you leave up Ida and you don't ban her, you better be prepared. You better have like a green Armin or something. Yeah, Hyun's right. She'll wipe the floor. Anything else on her? Massive damage, glass cannon build.
Oh yeah, it's one of my favorite units. I'm very proud of the build that I was able to accomplish with her.
Very nice. Okay. Next up, we have the Landy on Guiding Light, and we'll show the stats. How is Landy for you this season, Hyun?
So
Very
Landy
fast.
was yeah, is I felt like the only viable playstyle for Landy
Hmm.
was fast Landy, and you see a lot of there were a couple of legend players that were using Landy. I believe one of them was Tino user. I'm not sure if he ended legend, but he was in that legend bracket. He had like a 290 Landy, I believe. But for Landy specifically, she's my hyper carry unit, and the way I utilized her was taking a book holder and then trying to cycle Landy as much as possible, so I can proc Guiding Light as much as possible
Hmm.
and make sure she stays hidden throughout the whole fight.
Oh yeah, guys, I'm sure we've all fought Landys like that. That just always, and you use that guiding light to make sure, because there's an RNG element for anyone watching, the 70% chance. Some people call it griefing light, right, Hyun? But you try to maximize.
Oh yeah.
You try to maximize the chances to keep her there, and she's your hyper carry. Is that what you called it?
Yes, this is one of my hyper carries. Yep.
Okay, looks good. 268 speed, guys. Let's go on to the Spectre Tenebria. Pen set. Take it away, Hyun.
So this one, so Spectre Tenebria, she's my premier DPS unit. She's also, in my opinion, probably the best unit in the game.
I'm glad you said that. Just real quick, guys, the ML5 tier list that's going to be coming out soon. There's been a little controversy. Some players don't think Spectre Tenebria should be like near the top, but Hyun, I'm glad to hear you say that, because I agree. One of the best units, right? Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead. As for her,
yeah, of course,
your account, your Tenebria this season, tell us more.
So Spectre Tenebria, I put her on pen set mainly to just maximize the amount of damage that I could do for her.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, you'll see pen set for Stene on any like cleaver aggro, like high level aggro player. They'll utilize a pen set Spectre Tenebria. Obviously a book holder, so you can flex my playstyle, which revolves around having souls. I try to utilize as much books as possible so I can get as much burst as possible. The most burst and damage.
Yeah, noted. Tons of books, tons of damage. I hate fighting Spectenes. All right, especially ones that look like Hyun's. Next up, we have the Arbiter Vildred on immunity, speed immunity with the Alexis Basket. Hyun, how often does this guy pop up for you in the season?
Not very much.
You say not very much?
He didn't pull up very much.
Okay.
I think I should have ungeared her or ungeared him and put him on Vildred, green Vildred.
Ooh, shout out to Green Vil.
But I didn't really use speed contest units that much either, so
maybe we'll have time to you can talk about that real quick, Hyun, as an aggro player. If you weren't using speed contest, yeah, you'll tell us. Maybe we'll have time at the end to talk a little bit about the draft scenario, or we'll do that for the Twitch chat AMA. So make sure you YouTube watchers stop by if you want to pick Hyun's brain even more. All right, anything else to say on this guy, Hyun? Didn't get played too much, right?
Not very much, unless you are able to utilize him against like a very squishy cleave comp that exposes RB in a sense that allows RB to be slotted in. He's not very good.
Sure, makes sense. Next up, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this one, Sylvian. So you're on Chatty, but not on Lifesteal. 233 speed. How did Sylvian perform for you?
I'll be honest, I didn't really use her this season. Ever since she got out, I think she came out in the preseason of the season, I believe.
Maybe, yeah. Was it preseason, chat? Go ahead though, Hyun.
I think it was like a preseason. I put my best DPS gear on her and she blew. So ever since then, I never really used her. I love the unit. I love her design. That's why I still put her on like the best gear. But
my man,
she didn't really have too much of a use in my games.
Okay, so maybe for your style, yeah, I kind of had similar experiences, even though I'm a completely different player than Hyun. For me though, it wasn't like the damage was bad. It's more just like she has so many hard counters. So like Hyun was kind of saying, right, with the examples with Spirit Eye Celine, you also have to pick Sylvian very carefully too. But yeah, interesting to see this. Okay, Operator Cigarette up next, Hyun. Second Guiding Light.
So I'm not too proud of the build because she's 97% crit chance, but I maximize as much damage as possible on her. Especially this season, towards the later half of the season, actually. Sorry, I just collected my thoughts. So Opsig, I picked her on Guiding Light because it's very hard to kill a unit on Guiding Light.
Yeah.
Not just because it's stealth, but against players like units like Ran or AoE units, they are unable to one-shot Guiding Light units, in my opinion.
Because
in my
stealth,
experience,
you have a damage reduction like bonus, right?
Yep.
Sure. Okay.
So just maximize as much damage as I could. She's obviously just used against shield targets, especially Hwayoung's. Hwayoung, especially this season, when I utilized her, I tried to get attack buff on her as much as I can. If I didn't, then I would have to ensure that the the unit was not around like an Aureus holder,
Mhm.
or else it's
To make sure
it's
you
hard
land the kill,
to.
right? Sure, sure.
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay. Sounds good on the op sig. Next up, Summertime Iceria. Not maxed already, Hyun. I'm assuming this one wasn't used in your main drafts, since we have a little RNG on that already.
No, I didn't really use her.
Okay. Thoughts
She's
on her, though?
geared. Not very strong this season. Unless you play Cleave, she's still relevant. But
But you are
when
aggro.
I
Hyun.
yes, against like other aggro players,
Yeah, go
I
ahead, go
didn't see her too much.
Hyun, just for my Twitch chat and the YouTube watchers, how do you categorize the difference between cleave and aggro in your words?
So there's a very special speed chart, and Valky made this actually.
Mhm.
So it's a chart that bases playstyles off of your overall speed and the unit speeds that you have. And I think it's better if I just show it to you.
We don't have to bring it up now,
I'll go ahead
Hyun, so
and
we can keep the flow. But yeah, okay. So mostly
Oh, you
based
can buy-
off of
yeah.
overall speed is your differential, right? I think that's what most people would categorize it as. But everyone has kind of their own definition here and there. Sometimes the two playstyles can merge a little bit, right, Hyun? So it's a lot of it is just relative or preference. But yeah, Hyun says he bases it off
Oh, yeah,
the
of course.
Valky speed chart, which maybe we'll take a look at later.
But
yeah, we'll find it
in,
later.
s- in simple terms, Cleave, anything past around 300 and utilizes connectors to such as Seaside Iceria, Ada,
Thank
Sea
you for giving
Pavel.
examples. Yeah, connectors or bridges is what sometimes people call them. Is that right?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
But essentially the difference is just a speed bracket between the two.
Sure. All right. Makes sense. Okay. Next up, we have the A. Coley, and this is your symbol holder. 284 speed, S1EE silent daggers. Let's look at the stats. How is the A. Coley, Hyun?
So I actually utilized her against more tanky teams that didn't have AoE.
Okay.
She's it's a very secret tech because I didn't actually
Ooh.
utilize her until
We love secret
towards
tech
maybe
here.
the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I forgot who the player was, but he used this against me when I was trying to tank down. He absolutely annihilated me with Acoli, and that's especially the
Is that with
I guess the
Soulburn? Like, did you
inspiration
bring a
for this
book,
build.
and do you bring books with her to land that early S?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Tank Buster. She's always been known for that, but you said in the last 2 weeks you popped this out, right?
Oh yeah. She's come clutch maybe 1 or 2 games, but still a very very nice unit to I guess have in the back of my hand.
Awesome, awesome. All right, next up, guys, we have a Ran. Is it a real one? How was Ran for you, Hyun? So you're an aggro player, so not necessarily like a Ran user, but he is fully geared. What do you think about Ran?
So unlike Cleave players who utilize the Ran within the first 2 picks, I kind of utilized them for maybe the 4th or 5th pick.
Sure.
And towards the end, when I was playing against other players, I was meeting a lot of players that would either steal my hyper carries, or they would essentially already have or utilize the carry itself. So for example, if they were an aggro player and they picked Stene, then I would pick Ran as one of my AoE assassin units to try to, I guess, pick off the Stene and then try to win the game off of that, or follow up with another AoE unit just so I can finish off that Stene.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah, yeah. Definitely a difference in when you draft them compared to like a pure cleaver. Next up is Strays, though, Hyun. I hate fighting this guy. How was Strays?
Yeah, I tried to. I did use him a lot against tank down players.
Yeah.
He didn't really have too much. Well, I would say he did have a good amount of influence, as long as there wasn't a tempo unit such as Destina or any Revive Soul Weaver that could bring back that tank unit.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, so that neck, it's supposed to be 5% crit, but the build is like that. So.
Oh, right. You're saying once you can reforge this to our gem sub changes to 5, right, to make it 85 crit. Is that what you're referencing?
Of course.
Okay. But yeah, it's a Strays. Looks good, and you use it versus tank downs.
Yep. Yes. Closing thoughts. Yeah, closing thoughts for him. He's a great unit. especially if the tank down player or the player who is utilizing these scaling bruisers don't have a reviver or soul weaver
Yeah.
that will recover health from that.
Don't I know it? All right, Hyun. Good to hear. Seaside Bologna up next, and this is this Wyvern? Just Wyvern one shot?
Just a wyvern one shot, you know.
Got it. Okay, so let's move right along. Solitaria of the Snow. On book, of course. Hyun loves his Tagahels. Let's look at the stats. What about Solitaria? A little bit slow. Surprised to see how slow she is for you. Wait, what is this a gimmick build? What's his damage?
Yeah, this is a DPS Solitaria.
Hyun, is this like, did you actually use this, or was this kind of for fun and
Oh yeah,
lobbies
of
with
course.
the boys? It was a real
Of
build?
course I did.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, it is a real build.
Tell us about this DPS Soli. I think my chat is very eager to hear about this. Yeah, talk to us.
So against players that would take Sage Vivian, they would typically pick her as a 2/3 unit, in which what I referencing is that they'll take 2 DPSs and they'll take 3 supports, or a combination of a tank and a support within those 3.
Mhm.
So what I would usually do is I would ban out the unit that had the focus, or not the focus unit. I would ban out the unit that's in Sage Vivian, and Sage Vivian would end up becoming the sole carry, and the enemy wouldn't expect a DPS Solitaria. So when she went through, she would just end up one-shotting the Solitaria, or not the Solitaria, the Sage Vivian, because guess what? There's no focus.
Yeah. Okay, wow. So specific tech. But yeah, I like to see this, man. This is a very cool build, guys. There you go. Was there any scenarios outside of the Sylvian interaction? Any other time she was brought out?
Oh yeah. You mainly want to focus on using her against focus units.
Sure, of course.
So
Like a
Rylet
normal Solitaire.
oh yeah,
Rylet,
so basically
Archdemon.
just Rylet and Sage. I wouldn't pick her against Archdemon.
Really?
Archdemon will actually just for how squishy Solitaria is with this build, she'll just get poked out,
Makes
and
sense.
then
Okay.
she'll end up getting sealed, and then she'll die.
Yeah, sure. All right. But there you go, guys. This is Hyun's DPS Solitaria. All right, Hyun, next up, we have this girl has brought so much controversy lately to our community. But here's a Hua, and you mentioned, right, that you fight her a lot. I think you referenced her during I can't remember which unit you were talking about, but Operator Cigarette, I think it was. Yeah, what do you think about Hua Yun?
Oh yeah. Whenever she was available, I would pick her. Usually, the enemy would take her first or second pick. So just a very highly contested unit. She's fortunately she's not coming back, but
Yeah. And Hyun, your build, I think, is the reason she's getting nerfed, because you have some nice stats here. She has a lot of bulk, but plenty of damage. And I think that's where Smilegate maybe was like, okay, she kind of does a little bit too much here when players get her super well. But yeah. So you first picked her when you could. And did you say you're glad, she's getting nerfed? Or I might have missed that.
I'm kind of indifferent about her. I didn't really struggle too much against her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't really struggle too much against her, and
not a big deal for Hyun. He was able to fight her. He was able to pick her. Indifferent, right?
Yeah, usually I saw her. She was either based on like playstyle, she's either one spectrum or the other. She'd either be with slower end aggro players, or she'd be just on cleave teams.
Sure. Okay. All right. There's the Hua Young, guys. Say bye to her. Let's wave bye to her, Hyun. Next up, we got Assassin Sid. And this is the artifact you were talking about earlier when we were talking about Spirit Isoline. 291.
Yeah, 291. I didn't really utilize it too much, other than as like a last pick to like scare the opponent.
Yep.
He's on pen just for extra damage, but that's essentially just I try to put as much speed on him while maintaining that speed set, or the pen set.
Okay, sounds good. And then if they were to let him through, you have a chance as well, right, to get an extra CR push, maybe steal that first turn. Is that the thought process behind this?
Oh yeah, if the enemy is just they're not paying attention, and they're like a passive cleaver, and they end up outspeeding my acid, they will end up just
pressing a skill, and
they'll push. Yeah. They'll press a skill, and then he'll just pop up. So it's more of just like a brain check unit.
Okay, I like that. Next up, we have Fire Meru. Hyun, no skin. No skin on her. That's okay. Unity set. Is this Guild Wars maybe? What is this for?
So I didn't really use her for Guild Wars. I mainly used her as a counter against green units, such
Oh,
as
so
like
RTA
Senya.
units?
Sometimes Senya actually. She didn't really have too much results against Senya, but on the rare occasion that Landy was picked, then she would pop out.
Okay. Niche unit to fight Earth units, namely Landy, right? Okay. Speaking of Senya, though, we have a Senya right here, Hyun. And this is a little bit of an effectiveness build.
Oh yeah, this unit was very toxic.
Yes.
I did struggle against her, uh, and that's mainly because of the effectiveness Senya. You'll see an effective Senya not with this attack stat, probably a little bit higher, or maybe around like 5.5k attack, and then they'll have like roughly 80 to 100 effectiveness, and that's to just provoke the fast soul weavers that just have like 100 effect res.
Yeah. And actually, Hyun, I don't know if you experienced this at the end, but people were making their DNs even higher and higher ER, so you kind of push the effectiveness a little higher. But yeah, that's about the stats for effectiveness. Did you yourself use her, though?
No.
You just wanted
I
one?
forgot. Yeah, I like this unit a lot, but she's on my Grace of Growth. I just wanted to
Yeah.
see how she worked, and I ended up building one.
Okay, sounds good. He didn't really use it, guys. He just wanted to see it, but yeah, not really his playstyle. Next up is Politis. This one definitely, I'm sure you used, Hyun, quite a bit.
No, I actually banned this unit. Like,
Really?
3 games.
Okay. So she's not using a book. This is like a degen build. So you didn't like her as an aggro player? You didn't use her like a damage build? Talk to us about just Politis in general. Your experience.
So she actually destroys my playstyle. I use a lot of passive engage units, so like Sea Lilius, DN, Rampera, all those units. She just effectively did shit on all of them, so I couldn't. I
Was she
really
your
had no
pre-ban?
choice but to just ban her.
She was your
Yes,
pre-ban. Okay.
she was my pre-ban.
That makes sense then. All right. So she has like a degen crown build on, but typically on your climb, she was the pre-ban target, so you never saw her either on your side or your opponent's side, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay. All right. Next up, we got the Rimu. Rimu, the slime. How
I
is this guy?
love this unit. I love this unit so much. I used her. I paired him up with DJB, and I used him as a Senya counter, and that's mainly because against Senya, she has a lot of buffs, and with Rimuru, you can just steal those buffs and potentially just one shot her.
Mm-hmm. So,
With the build that I have, I put my best Berserk gear on him. He's something special. It's
do you know the gear score offhand?
he's roughly like 437 gear score.
Okay, that's pretty dang high. All right. This is your best bruiser gear, though, you would say? Hyun, I did notice one minor thing. Some of your units, like the Ran, the Rimu now, you do kind of skimp a little bit on some Molas, especially the last few. Is that just personal preference? You don't really think you need them? Talk to us a little bit about that part.
It is a bit of personal preference because for units like Ran and Rimuru, like I specified before, I consider them as dynamic carries or dynamic units in which they are useful within the first initial turns, like first 1 or 2 turns.
Mm-hmm.
So I never really I never really cared too much about their S1, but for Rimuru specifically, I do wish sometimes that I had fully maxed it out.
I got you. You're saving Mola where you can, and it right now it doesn't justify the value of using those last 2 Mola spots. But you said you might consider maxing that out soon, right?
Oh yeah, I'm not playing RTA after. I'm actually not playing RTA probably for next year.
Oh, we're taking a break. All right,
focused.
guys. Locks in the legend. He's gonna chill for a while. I think that's actually very good. Sometimes for your mental, just take a break. Enjoy the game, right, Hyun? Now you can kind of just relax and play Hero Collector. Okay, Flurry up next. Did we use her at all as an aggro player?
No, she didn't pop up at all.
I'll show the stats regardless real fast. Any quick thoughts on her? Why didn't you use her? You just not really your cup of tea?
Yeah, so this unit is her S3 is kind of it's good against MLK, but effectively only for 1 turn. And the issue with her is that you're not applying this defense break to any other hero. It's just Koeric. So after that, she kind of does nothing.
Okay. So you didn't use her like at all?
Oh yeah, no, I didn't use her at all.
All right. How about this one? Dizzy. Necronundine. Did Dizzy see any play?
No, unfortunately not. She's on a prototypical health scaling bruiser build, so I'm just placeholding her for world boss, but she's got a good amount of like high gear score pieces.
Okay. Why did you giggle about the Dizzy?
I tried to use her,
Yeah.
and then I was like, wow, this is garbage.
I have seen some people lately, Hyun, actually enjoy using her. I don't know how good it is, but they've actually like non-copium think she's good. But for you, you weren't a fan. When you
No, I I just meme with her.
Okay.
She's great unit. I love her design. I utilized her.
Hyun, I think you and I like the same kind of characters. I get that vibe. All right. Next up, we got K-Ron. Counter set. On the Shepherds.
Oh yeah.
How about this guy?
Yeah,
Did he
just
make a splash at all in your RTA?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, of course. Anti-cleave unit. Good against imprint. Yeah, imprint cleavers.
The imprint cleavers mean like speed contesters? Speed spammers?
Oh yes. So like Sid, you'll see a Sid. You'll see Flan. Sometimes I would see I guess a Wanderer's Silk, but it's mainly like damage speed contesters. So like Watcher Shuri, Sid, like I said before.
Yeah. I got you.
Yeah, Grain Vildred.
Okay, so he was very good for you. EE of choice was the Apocalypse, then the second one? Okay.
Yep, just increased damage for Apocalypse just to guarantee that one shot.
So Anti-Cleave, and he worked wonders for you? Sounds like that way. Your experience was good with him.
Yeah, I mean, like, whenever I picked him, he would either just not counter, and when he did counter, he would just turn the tide of the game.
Yeah,
so
he would wipe the floor.
He's
Okay.
great. He's a good unit. He's in a good spot this season.
Next up, we got the APOC Ravi. Hyun, how important was she to your drafts? Did you use her as like an anchor, like an aggro, or was that kind of, talk to us about the APOC.
Oh, yeah, she was very important for my, for like late season climb.
Triple S for that team.
Oh yeah, this A Ravi, I typically don't draft her when Landy and Steny are up for me to grab, but I would pick her when either one of them were banned against me. So if I didn't have Steny, then I would end up first picking APOC. The usual drafts that I see from tank down players who pick A Ravi would be a Steny and a Hwayoung pre-ban, and that's how I know that they're a tank down player. So I would just snatch APOC Ravi from them.
Where's Zion in the chat? Yeah, that's definitely a good takedown identifier. Okay, so you try to snatch the A-Ravi. That makes sense. But overall, right, Hyun, just one of the best ML5s. Do you rate Steny or Apocalypse Ravi higher? If you just had to place them, I know there's a lot of nuance, but which one do you think is overall better?
If we had to place them, just for my like biased opinion,
yeah, of course, it's gonna be biased. Go ahead.
I would put Steny for.
Oh, Hyun, a big Steny guy. Some of my guys will be glad to hear that. Okay, yeah, but APOC, you definitely used her a ton. She was a great pick for you. Stats look great. Jay Kisei, speaking of one of the best ML5s, now we go to maybe one of, not super hot right now, unless Hyun, did you have some good experiences with her?
I don't really pick her too much unless I knew I was going to outspeed with Judge Kisei, but that was very rare at times. She's good against, I will say she's good against Koeric, or ML Kekwick, as I like to call him, but other than that, I typically didn't utilize her.
Okay. All good. Next up is T. Crows, and I'm guessing this is also pretty rare for you, unless you were forced into the tank down side.
Oh yeah, I utilized her for or sorry, I keep saying her.
Hey, that's okay.
I typically only pick waifu units for RTA, but T. Croze, I picked him a lot for anti-cleave. He's a solid anti-cleave unit, especially against single target. There were a lot of times where you just push up and just absolutely just save the game for me.
Got it, but yeah, he's a waifu gamer, boys. A lot of y'all are like that too. Fairy Tail, this one's gonna get buffed soon, Hyun. Do you have any predictions for how good she'll be in this next frenzy or this next RTA change?
I think she'll be very good. I think if I were to choose between like I guess the three meta relevant units, that to be predicted as OP, which would be Tomoka, Fairy Tail, and AOL. I'd probably pick probably AOL, but we'll talk about that later. But
Sure.
Fairy Tail, once she gets buffed, you're gonna see a lot of fast F10As past 300. She's gonna be pretty toxic.
I can't, guys. I am actually dreading that so bad. But Hyun, for you, pre-buff this season or pre-speed increase, did you use her at all?
No. People would take FCC.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be able to utilize her.
All right. Well timed. Speaking of FCC, Hyun, we have a FCC. I like this. The 29 Aureus. That's intentional, correct?
Oh yeah. Just you don't want to if you have like a low. I guess you would consider this as like a low health FCC in the legend bracket.
Yeah.
Usually
Guys,
most FCCs are slower and have like
totally.
30k HP.
Right, Chad. This is a low health. My FCC is way higher health, Hyun. But what were you saying? Yeah, this is considered a lower HP, so that's why I mentioned the Aureus. You want to have it at 29 so it doesn't overlap. If Hyun has another plus 30, that'll take the damage share. But Hyun, in terms of just FCC, what do you think about her?
Yeah, I did not utilize her too much this season, and that was mainly because of DJB, who would absolutely shit on me sometimes. But
Yeah,
I
he's a
didn't really
menace.
pick her too much unless it was against anti-cleave.
Okay. And then even against anti-cleave, sometimes you would opt for like T Croze, right?
Oh yeah. So you would if let's say if T Crozy was used against single target cleave, then Fallen would be used against AoE cleave. So
Okay, makes sense.
this would be your main Aureus holder for AoE.
Got it. All right. So AOL, I think you had some words about this terror of a unit. What do you have to say about AOL, Hyun?
Oh yeah, this unit was my savior this season. She's primarily a book holder. A lot of people don't expect a fast AOL anymore. They typically build
true.
slow ER, but for her, she was my secondary disruptor. I would draft her as frequently as possible, mainly because she is a book holder. So, and plus that S3 is so huge. Her S2, S3, probably the most overloaded skills in the game, in my opinion.
I think a lot of people would agree with that for sure. But yeah, he's right. I don't know if I've ever countered one, Hyun, when I was climbing the. Yeah, it's very rare to see super fast AOLs because typically you want to make them like slower than like a cleanser to be annoying, right? But this, you had a special tech and it worked out super good for you, right?
Oh yeah, so for her specifically, her biggest weakness is obviously that she's squishy, and usually the enemy would take a Ravi, so that was probably her biggest weakness was a Ravi in general. If I was not able to kill the a Ravi or deal as much damage as possible to where I had the unit advantage, then a Ravi would just come in, kill my AOL, and just obliterate my composition.
Yeah, big
But
tempo swing there. All right.
But yeah, I mean, I used her to disrupt to Queric actually. S1 for Soulburn, most Querics you don't see with immunity, I would push them back with the S1 sometimes, and I'll be able to secure my first rotation from that. So she was a very good unit.
Oh, okay. All right, I like that. Next up is LRK, Hyun, Last Rider Crow. Any words? I expect you didn't use him too often.
I used him in the beginning of the season, specifically against Ace Trainer. he had such a hard time dealing with this,
80 Meru?
This unit. Oh yeah, he would always pick 80 Meru, and I picked this 3 straight times against him on the ladder.
Yeah.
He just ended up. This unit was very good for a while.
But beyond like target
mids.
picks, and just in general, did you use him at all?
No, initially I was using him for against Ameru, but typically when you see this unit, the easiest way to counter LRK is with tempo units, as I said before. So like Destina, any Soul Weaver, Queric specific, Queric can just easily just strip a buff on one unit and then just allow ADS to land that seal. So he wasn't very good in my opinion as a counter pick.
Right. Okay. Next up, we got Designer Lilibet. D. Lily.
Yeah, she's another, in my opinion, another anti-cleave unit.
Sure.
Use her, or I would use her against buff heavy teams or debuff heavy teams. Um, she got the job done. I mean, that's all I'll say about her. I didn't utilize her too often to really give a proper insight, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, the stats all look like a typical Dilibet. Was the speed okay at 201 for the most part?
Oh yeah, for sure. She was like 201. That's easily enough to cut with the 40%, especially since there's no poly around.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next up is Sage Ball. Sage Ball and Sezin. What about this guy, Hyun?
Another anti-cleave unit. He's not on the best gear, but I would pick him a lot against AoE cleavers.
Right, because I think on this kind of build, especially on Bastion, we're at risk of, just getting one shot, correct? If it's like a single target heavy.
Yeah, yeah. If it's like a even with the Bastion, like I would see Elf cleavers, or I would also see, I think it was oh yeah, flank cleavers, and I think what was her name? Leica.
Yep.
Yeah, I would see all three of those units pop up, and they would just I guess just build diff. They just roll me over with that unit sometimes.
All right, all right. Next up is Bazaar. Also getting 7 speed, guys, just a heads up. But he's kind of an outdated unit. Did you make use of him at all?
No, I didn't really make use of him. He's just another unit that his only good skill is S3, but
Yep.
it can be easily nullified. If you it can be easily nullified, in my opinion.
No, yeah.
Typically he's either too slow to play against aggro or like high speed aggro players or cleave units, or he would just be not very effective against tank down units who don't really mind not taking the first turn. They can just delay the inevitable.
Right, right. Okay. Next up is Alencia on Ed's Arty. Just a speed immunity build. The damage trample. How about Alencia, Hyun?
Yeah, she was actually my symbol holder this season. I switched like later in the season when I stopped utilizing her.
It was on Acoli now, right? Your symbol's on Acoli?
Yes, so I had her on a different necklace too for 100 crit chance, but this build is also good too. I didn't utilize her too much at the end of the season, but middle of the season, against buff heavy teams when DN was still a very, I guess, like highly relevant pick before the DJB emergence later in the season. She was very good against those comps.
Okay.
Or against hider comps whenever I saw Landy, she would just poke them out, and then with that 50% increase from S3, she would lap and then get her turn off of that and just finish off any other unit.
Makes sense. Yeah, it looks like a typical Alencia build. Watcher Shuri up next here. No EE. Did we use him, Hugh?
Yeah, he's just
Gear holding?
he's just just gear holding.
Okay.
I tried to utilize speed imprints, but I wasn't very I'm very inexperienced with using speed imprints. That's why I never relied on speed imprints.
Okay. All right. Got it. How about Archdemon Shadow, aka 80 Meru counter immunity? We got the Fairy Tail 4 and Nightmare. I love this unit, Hyun, and the build looks very solid. Very solid.
Yeah, I try to familiarize myself with different playstyles. So one of those
like that,
playstyles was
sorry to interrupt, but kind of like the Senya, right? You don't use the Senya, but you wanted to see how she works, and the same scenario kind of for ADS. Okay, so you don't
scenario
use her.
here, except I actually did use her. Whenever I think notable players that I would use her and other tank down units were against other tank down players. So like Six Duck. I can't really think of any other player. I think I also use this against Shirian, another tank down player.
Yeah.
I would just steal units and then I would try to use it against them and see how they would react.
Well, it must be nice you having those units that's not even your play style, but you're just stealing, and the gear is good enough. Actually, I think the gear is actually pretty good. It's very good, actually. If this is just a unit, you're messing around with the steal, so very nice. How about May Chloe, Hyun? So this is a unit that I think has been losing a lot of stocks. I think she does have relevancy somewhere. How about for you?
She had a bit of relevancy. I didn't pick her too often. Just for just enough ER to survive like a 100 effectiveness unit, speed contester unit. Um, Other than that, I don't think I utilized her too much this season. She's not in a. It's like you said, she's not in a very good spot.
Yeah.
She's either just too slow or just the S3. As soon as you proc it, it either just gets stripped or just or you just have to hold it, and she just becomes ineffective, in my opinion.
Right. Okay. Conqueror Lilius, though, Hyun. On Circus Fantasia, 309 speed, guys. And then we use this to, shore up the effectiveness, correct?
Yeah, this is my premier opener, so I think you know how it is. This unit is extremely OP. The vigor buff, attack down to cripple the enemy DPSs. I admittedly I used her to contest openers. No one really expects a fast Lilius, and when it happens, it leaves in my opinion, it does leave an impression against other players, because then they'll see like, oh my god, this guy has like a 310 Lilius, and then they'll either waste a pre-ban or they'll try to play around it.
Everything 23 or 22 to 23 speed on every piece. 309, yeah, he's contesting. That is crazy. So you're saying like there's even beyond just her being a fast opener, there was a little bit of a mind game thing that would happen. Players would have to you said like target ban?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Once they realized.
It happened to so it happened to Elf Mage, it happened to Hui, it happened to what was his name? Bien, the Korean player. They started target banning me because of that. It leaves a lasting impression, and I think that's the benefit of just one of the benefits, obviously, of having having such a high gear score, high speed unit.
Yeah,
is you can play mind games with other high level players.
All right. Next up is the Para. It's crazy to see a C Lilius faster speed than the Para, but even this Para is still very fast. What do you think about her, Hyun?
Yeah, she's very good. I typically used her with DJB in order to steal the counter for her, but she's also on UDD set, in which sometimes she'll come up with like a clutch stun.
Yeah. And it's gonna get even better. Buff. This is getting buffed.
Oh yeah, she's a great solid unit. She did fall down just a bit because of DJB, but other than that, she's amazing. She's a great unit.
Is this on your Guild War defense, Hyun? My chat was saying we fought y'all a little while ago, and I hate paras on RNL, and then, dude, when you just proc that Unity set as well, and just stun something out of turn, it's so obnoxious. But I would, if I fought this in Guild Wars, I'd probably be mauling. But yeah, good idea. I like that.
I did have her on Guild War for a bit, but I think I started encountering like degen polys that would just end up just resisting for her. I believe from the consensus that I saw with my Guild War defense, they would just end up finding ways to counter it, especially with like DJB. So
Hyun, they're mentioning we're out of resources. They're mentioning we didn't fully 6-star this well-geared para.
Oh, yeah, I didn't really see the need to increase her effectiveness at all.
All right.
So
next up is Violet, free gear. Did this one just come out rarely when you fought like a lot of ice units?
Yeah. Using him as a pincer unit against heavy water teams. You don't really see him too much anymore.
Yeah.
Mainly because of Hyun. There are so many ways to deal with him right now. So I'm glad he fell off, because he was very annoying when he first became relevant.
Yeah, what was it? There was like chat, the Violet plus there was another unit people just spam. What was the Violet days? And it was like who was in combination? Yeah, Rem Violet Hyun. When he was in his prime, people just like first pick those two combo. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, Rem Violet Casino.
Remlet, Casino Remlet. Okay, next up is Dien on Unfading Memories, newly buffed. 292 speed, holy mama. But she is losing 7 speed, right? Is that going to affect your gearing at all, Hyun? You said you're not going to play the next season too much, but how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I probably won't use her again when I do come back. Probably because it just rotate out. But she was very solid for the majority of the season for me. The attack steroid and the cleanse just makes her a very good opener in my opinion for aggro players.
And chat saying you would outspeed their Rands, by the way, Hyun, with this TN. Okay, next up is Ruel. Just like Maid, I think Hyun, this unit doesn't see as play nearly as much as she used to. Same findings in your experience?
Yeah, I just stole her whenever I had the chance against takedown units. Mm-hmm. She's in my opinion, she's built well. Didn't pick her as much other than that. She's just well geared, and whenever I need to use her, I'll just use this build.
Okay. How about Bellion? I'm assuming this is your second pre-ban alongside Politis?
Yeah, this is my second pre-ban. She never showed face
yeah.
in any of my games.
Loves your Taga Hells, your books. She can never make it on the field. But you have her geared for what, Guild Wars Arena?
No, she's just geared.
You just geared her, and then she never gets to see the light of day, though. Okay. Yeah, looks like a good standard Bellion build. But he can never fight this. Next up is Edward and Hyun. He's only +4 Mola.
Yeah, I didn't use him.
Any quick thoughts on him overall?
Yeah, he's a great unit. Especially after the buffs. After the buffs against debuff heavy, obviously against debuff heavy comps, he would just end up carrying hard. They're having a couple of times where I just got soloed by Ed, because of how fragile my comps were, and yeah, he's just, like I said, overall great unit. He's either on lifesteal set with pen, or he's on speed set with Sigurd's on pen.
Sure. How about Bryce Saria? Oh, ungeared. Didn't make much use.
Oh yeah, she was geared. I just pulled like the chest piece out, but I didn't use her at all.
Okay.
I kind of just put her on this build.
All right,
just in case I see buff heavy comps.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and Hyun just focus on the units maybe that got to see a lot of play. Lily's, I'm assuming, just gear holding at the moment?
Yeah, just gear holding.
Okay. Keck, though. Fire Keck, Meteor Quick. His artifact is stolen, but did you use him at all? You mostly fought him.
Oh, yeah. I mostly fought him. When I needed to slow down, he was definitely the pick that I utilized. He usually has Warhorn, but I put the Warhorn on I keep forgetting the unit. It's the light unit that I use for Hyun. But he's a solid unit. Great cleanser. It's
Kawana?
hard to...
No, sorry, that's not a light unit. That's a dark unit. Okay. Light unit. All right. Crow. Guild War 22 Aureus. Maybe anti-Lionheart tech. What was this for? Anything quick notes?
No, that's basically it. Just nothing to use.
Got it.
Yeah, Camilla.
Yeah, Camilla's the one. Good job, chat. DJ Bazaar, we referenced him a few times here. You definitely use this guy. 267 speed.
Oh, yeah.
Another one, though, Hyun, that's going to be losing that 7 speed, right, in this next RTA season. 141 ER on Water's Origin. Okay. Just a super strong unit, right? And sometimes you would take him just to protect, like, your pairs or your barrier units.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Just make things quick. Yeah, just ever since the buffs, and especially paired with Water's Origin, he would just disrupt cleave, and he would just destroy tank down teams that had shields.
Got it. Okay. Destina, you kind of talked about her a lot, so we know how you feel that she's a great, as you put it, tempo unit. But for you, lacking Molas, didn't see much play on your end.
I didn't see play. I just wanted to build her.
Sure. Hyun does that a lot, guys. He'll build units that he fights against a lot just to kind of get that experience. The Raw is missing a neck now, Hyun. I think we're getting near maybe the.
Yeah, we're nearing the end.
Okay.
He didn't see play. Sure. I used him for Abyss runs and just Labyrinth runs as well. He's just as is.
He's for us turn 2s. We got a PvE Rage Set Rem. Green Armin
for one shots.
Yeah, one shots. Green Armin on a very, very damaging build. Looks good. Anti-cleave tech, right, Hyun?
Yep, just anti-cleave. She popped out whenever there was heavy AoE cleave units.
I'll show the stats actually real quick. I'm sure someone might want to see them super fast. But Hyun, the next unit's coming up. Is there any you want to focus on, or is there any? You can probably just let me know which ones to check out if we missed any real quick. Rowana, maybe rarely. Stella Harper looks good, but free to play boots.
We're nearing the end of the. Actually, this should be the end of the.
This is the end.
This is the end of the account review at this point.
I see a Cavill here. All right. Well, guys, you saw some crazy stuff. Hyun, stick around though. I want to do an AMA. Is there anything you want to just wrap up here for the YouTube viewers out there?
Yeah, of course. Like I said, I was very, very excited to show off my account, and I'm glad you guys got to see this. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Yes, so YouTube, I do want y'all to stop by because we're going to do a live AMA here in a sec. But if you have any extra questions on his style, anything he mentioned, just leave it in the comments and I'll reach out to him, or maybe he'll read them, and we'll do our best to get back to y'all. But Hyun, thank you for joining us. Remember, don't leave because we're going to talk a little bit here. But yeah, man, been a great pleasure. The account looks great. Congratulations on Legend. And
hey, the pleasure's all mine. Thank you.
Of course. All right, YouTube, we'll catch y'all later. Bye, guys.